Hello and welcome to the SpiderNerd.com podcast. I am your host, Jonathan Weber, aka SpiderNerd, the webmaster of the site. And joining me today for our very first show of 2014 is Mr. Thomas Patterson.
Hello, everybody. How's it going?
It's going pretty good, Thomas. How about yourself?
Pretty well.
Good. And we are excited today because we have another person joining us for the panel. We finally found someone who's willing to be a part of this lovely show. Joining us today for his first show ever on the Spider Nerd podcast, and joining us as hopefully a new full-time member of the panel is Mr. James Markin from the Angel Grove Radio podcast.
Ooh. Hey guys, what's up?
Yes, for those of you who don't know, that is James Markin. He's the host of the Angel Grove Radio podcast. Isn't that right?
Yeah, Angel Grove Radio.
Yes,
Power Rangers podcast.
Yes, they are a Power Rangers podcast. I remember when I was a little kid, I was huge into Power Rangers, so Power Rangers always have a special spot for me. Definitely.
Never really was a huge Power Rangers fan personally, but good to have you.
Yeah.
You are not invited on my podcast.
Ouch.
Damn. Owned by the new guy. Damn.
Well, I can tell that we're getting off to a good start here.
I'm just kidding. I'm just messing with you. I'm serious.
That's what they all say. And then they kick me to the curb.
James, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself so the listeners can get to know you a little bit?
Sure. Well, like you guys already mentioned, I'm the co-host and founder of Angel Grove Radio, Power Rangers podcast. I also do another YouTube show called Uncommon Hero. It's about a Japanese superhero from the sister show Power Rangers called Kamen Rider. It's pretty awesome and amazing, and you should check those shows out. But about me personally, I'm 23 years old from Wisconsin. Go Packers. And I've been a huge Spider-Man fan for my whole life, pretty much since the 90s cartoon on Fox Kids. Dad and Power Rangers and the old Batman cartoon were like my life. And I read a few comics because I was across the street to a comic book store. Like, I picked up the early Ben Reilly issues after he became Spider-Man when I was like 6 or 7, whenever that started, in the end of the Clone Saga. And I picked up a few issues, but not too much. And around the time that the movies were coming out, I was always a huge Spider-Man fan, and I wanted to go check out a comic book store. But when I would get there, either the comic didn't interest me or because, the old, saying about the numbers being too high for a new reader kind of freaked me out a little bit. And it wasn't until around New Avengers that I officially jumped on the book, and I've been addicted to Spider-Man ever since then, until Superior, but we'll get to that later, I guess, with me.
Yes, that is good. Like James, I wasn't a huge comic book reader when I was a kid. I was a huge cartoon watcher, but that's definitely good. We're happy to have you on the show after I got that sentence out after about 3 tries.
What does it take him like a week to get out a sentence?
Thomas, you can go screw yourself.
I already did that.
Tried it, not physically possible. Yes, I have a friend on Facebook, and I think his quote was probably one of the best quotes I've heard of 2013. He said that physics fucked me, and it didn't even buy me dinner after.
That is a good one. Yep.
Yes, I'm not currently taking physics, but I'm going to this semester for...
Oh, me too. Internet high five.
Boom. But I'm going to take physics this semester, and from what I've heard, it's a pain in the balls, so...
Yeah, I'm really not looking forward to it, personally.
Yeah, but I made sure I got the best teacher for it, so, the person who handles the scheduling and stuff made sure I got the best teacher for it, so...
Oh, that's all good. That's good.
Yeah, so hopefully I'm not going to have too much trouble with physics.
Yeah.
Yeah, because everyone around me says it's a bitch. But what have you been up to this week, Thomas?
Just hanging out, playing some games, dealing with New Year's and stuff. Unfortunately, unlike most people, I did not come up with a New Year's resolution, so I am sticking to whatever I did last year.
Yes. Thomas's New Year's resolution: be an asshole for another year.
Ow! Oh, jeez. What the hell?
Yes, I saw. That's not my joke. I stole that from something I saw on iFunny. That's not my joke. I stole that from somewhere. But yes. What have I been up to this week? Well, not really much. I worked on New Year's Eve, so I didn't get to see the Amazing Spider-Man 2 footage until about 1:00 a.m. on New Year's Day. That's literally all I've done this week. I have not done jack shit. I've legit not done jack shit since our last show. Well, I did actually do one thing that's coming to mind. I was horrendously bored last night, so I decided to, on a whim, spend $3.99 to rent Transformers: Dark of the Moon.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay.
That's a movie.
It wasn't as bad as the second one.
It wasn't, but there were a lot of problems with it.
There were a lot of problems, but if you just want to turn your mind off and not worry or think about anything, it's an alright movie.
Yeah, I personally enjoyed it quite a bit, but there were a lot of noticeable problems with it.
Yeah, there were, but I just thought like the last hour was basically what the movie was supposed to be, so it was alright. Past all the exposition stuff that really made no sense whatsoever.
I will say I saw that movie in theaters when it first came out because I was a huge Transformers fan back then, and I remember sitting in the theater and when Sentinel Prime turned on the Autobots, my jaw just hit the floor.
Oh, was it like the Mandarin, or
no? It wasn't like the Mandarin. It was like. Because the Mandarin just pissed me off when Ben Kingsley was not the Mandarin. But when Sentinel Prime turned on the Autobots, he did it in such a badass way. It was awesome.
Yeah. I agree.
Because literally he was like, a deal had to be made.
Spock.
He loads his gun with Megatron. And then he just kills Ironhide. And I was like, holy shit.
I'm like, and then nobody really cares that Ironhide dies. Anybody notice that? Nobody really cares. It's like, oh, okay.
But did anyone really care, like, when Jazz died in the first movie or anything?
Well, they at least gave him a little bit. Like, Optimus was like, oh, Jazz. Nope. Ironhide died. One of their longest team members. Nope. He's dead. Nobody cares.
And then there was the part where we all thought that, what's his name was going to shoot Bumblebee in the head.
Oh, it was, Barricade. Or was it? No, it was Soundwave.
Yes, we all thought he was going to shoot Bumblebee in the head, and it was like, holy shit, they're going to shoot their biggest name in the last movie.
I know, I was so sad because Bumblebee's my favorite Transformer. I was like, no, don't do it!
Yes. I will admit, Rosie Huntington-Whiteley is pretty to look at.
Yeah, but she's not much to act.
Yeah, there's not much there. Really isn't.
I like Megan Fox better in the first two. But I think that's why you picked
Megan Fox, right?
Yeah, Megan Fox is... I didn't find her attractive at all in the second one.
Really?
Not even...
I thought she was the best thing about that movie, quite honestly.
I mean, she was, but...
Me too, man. Me too.
She was the best thing about that movie, but it didn't make her a good actress or good looking, really.
Well, she wasn't a good actress, I'll give you that, but she is pretty to look at. Not as good as Emma Stone, though. Emma Stone just has that kind of natural beauty about her.
Yeah, I hate when people compare, like, Michaela or whatever that Rosie chick's name in the movie is, to Gwen Stacy in The Amazing Spider-Man, because here's the difference between them. The Transformers girls were female sidekicks. Yep. Emma Stone / Gwen Stacy is her own character. So, there you go. There's a difference.
Yeah, and they were only there because Michael Bay wanted to get a little bit in there.
Yeah, Michael... Yeah, wasn't there... I don't know if anyone heard this, but wasn't there a rumor that he made both of them, like, audition in lingerie or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Transformers gone.
Yes, we're moving off of the Transformers. We're gonna move back onto the Spider-Man topics because this is a Spider-Man podcast. This has been a fairly interesting first 10 minutes of our 2014 shows, but yes. So we will be moving on to the news topics today. We don't have any comics to review or anything because Superior number 15 does, or not 15. Superior number 25 doesn't come out until January 15th, which I think is stupid as hell.
About 10 off. Right there.
We'll see. I was thinking, I was thinking the 15th and then get it.
Here's hoping that 30 is the end of this horrible, ridiculous premise. Just my opinion. Sorry.
Yes.
Yours and mine too, man. Kindred spirits. Same for me.
Yes.
I just want Peter Parker back, darn it.
Yes.
Dude, I just want the Marvel Universe to stop being stupid.
I'm sorry, James. That's never going to happen. I'm sorry.
No.
I know.
It's too convoluted at this point. There's no way out.
There's no way that's going to happen.
DC tried it. It didn't really work out for them in the last, 25 issues they put out? 26 months, right?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't follow DC.
I actually started picking up Batman. It's actually pretty good. A lot of it is, but it doesn't remove the convolutedness of it. And instead, what they did is they made it even more convoluted because now they're picking and choosing which history they want to follow from the previous continuity.
Yep. That's that.
But to be fair, Batman Comics has always done that. They have always done that where it's like, oh, we're all one continuity continuing on from the last thing, except for this story and that story.
Yeah, we're retconning that, but at least this is openly retconning it because it's like it's actually a reboot. So it makes sort of sense, but it's still difficult to just kind of figure out the history behind these characters at this point. But, it's interesting enough to keep me reading it, so.
Yep. Alright, so, Spider-Man news, there hasn't been too much this week, but, there has been some. I think the biggest news story we can talk about this week, was that The Amazing Spider-Man 2 had some exclusive Times Square footage at New Year's Eve, and Thomas was kind enough to put that on the front page in his first ever post on SpiderNerd, so.
Woo!
Yes, so, even though he didn't do it right, he put a link, so I had to go back in and embed the video in there, so.
Okay, I was trying to embed the video. I tried to edit it, and I couldn't find how to do it, so I was just like, screw it.
Yes, okay.
You can make an extra click, people.
I was going to, let's see, do I embarrass Thomas and give him a tutorial on the show? Or, nah.
No, it's alright. It's alright. You can just email me how to do it next time.
Okay. Yeah, so, it's about a minute long, this little clip of the Times Square footage that we got here, and it is pretty decent, I'm not gonna lie. It's not anything like, the first two trailers are, what the Sorry, I just noticed something extremely weird there. Like, literally, this, I'm looking at the front page right now. This topic above the news story, Amazing Spider-Man 2 Times Square footage, is also a topic by Thomas. Ultimate Spider-Man 200 to showcase Miles Morales and Peter Parker. We will be talking about that later, but somehow it has 18 Facebook likes. I've never gotten
I haven't liked it myself. Oh, look, I'm going to like it now. Now it's 19.
Wow. I was gonna say I've never gotten that many likes on anything on this site, so I was like, what the freak? Okay. So, wow, we're getting off topic a lot on this episode, but, so, the Amazing Spider-Man 2 Times Square clip, basically, it's just Electro goes in the middle of Times Square, rips open a thing in the ground, and rips at some cables. The cops tell him, get the hell away from there. Spider-Man shows up, and he starts shooting at him. That's basically it. So, James, we're going to start with you since you're the new blood. What did you think of this little Times Square clip?
I thought it was okay. I like how they tied it in that it's a New Year's scene. from the movie, the tie-in with obviously at the ball drop it's at. So it's kind of cool how they showing clips from that, and it's an Electro fight, and I really like the way they did Jamie Foxx. At first, I didn't really like the look of the guy. I thought he was too much Emperor from Star Wars. But now that a few trailers and this came out, seeing it in action, it's actually a pretty cool look, I think.
It's definitely more resembling of the Ultimate look, not necessarily the early Ultimate look, but the later Ultimate look. So
Yeah, where he's all blue. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely think that, had they put Electro in the green and yellow costume for this movie, it would have looked ridiculous.
A lot of people were asking, "Hey, do you really want this?" And then there were people that were like, "Yes, we do." I'm like, "Okay, all right, I'll remember that next time that you see some ridiculous costume and you're like, that doesn't make the transition well," and then they whine about that. Seriously, this franchise cannot win with anyone. I'm just saying that.
It can win with me because I like most of the stuff they're doing with it. So
Well, I know I really like it too, but a lot of people are just like hating on everything that they try to do. What's everything about it? So,
but that's just the Spider-Man fan community. That's just basically
That's
that.
what
People thought after the first movie when they were introducing the parents that, oh my god, that means they're not going to do Uncle Ben's death because they're going to be dealing with the death of the parents somehow. That doesn't mean Uncle Ben's still not going to die. Okay.
Yeah, I have to be the only person in the world that never heard that rumor, thankfully, because I would have been livid had they not.
It was just mostly fanboys crying on message boards.
I heard that rumor too, but honestly, I never really thought that was going to come true. I'm like, if they're putting Ben Parker in the movie, they're going to kill him. And then they came out with set pictures for it like in a week, and I'm like, see, he's dead. And they're like, well, he's not going to get the send off he deserves. I'm like, you know what? Whatever. It was more like the Ultimate comics with how they sent off Uncle Ben, with how Peter basically asks where his father is, if that's the line from his father. Why couldn't he be there to tell him that himself?
Yeah, that was like an almost direct quote from Ultimate Spider-Man number 4.
Yep. Yep.
That was legit. I'm pretty sure they changed like one or two words in that to avoid copyright problems, but literally that was pretty much a direct quote.
I don't know if you can. I think that you're okay if you copy the direct quote. Honestly, since they own the copyright to it as well, so I think they could have made a direct quote, but they probably changed it up just to help it sound a little bit more fresh. I don't know.
Not make it too obvious, but still make it fairly obvious.
Yeah.
Yes, so Thomas, getting back on track, what are your thoughts on this Times Square exclusive clip?
Well, at first I was so livid, using your word, because I was like, I heard a whole bunch of people saying it's going to be a 3-minute clip. I'm like, wow, that's awesome. And it ended up being a minute, and half of it we've already seen from the previous trailers. But as I watch it more and more, I kind of like it, particularly the first half where I think the music actually fits really well. And then in the last half, the music kind of like gets in the way, I think, of what I would like to be there. Although there are some few interesting shots in there where Electro is getting electricity, which gives me the idea that he's weak, that he requires electricity, kind of like we require food. That you can survive a while without like refilling on it or whatever, but he needs it in order to remain strong. And now he no longer needs that food, but he needs electricity instead because of the genetic mutation.
I got more of a feeling that he was just powering up to be able to wipe out all those people in that area.
I didn't think that was what he was doing, but I feel like what the police are going to do is after they see him look up, they're going to start freaking out and shooting at him, and then he's going to start killing people in Times Square because of that, and everyone's going to be calling him a freak. So then Spider-Man's going to show up and try to stop him from killing people. And then Jamie Foxx's character is going to be like, oh, you betrayed me, Spider-Man. These people were making fun of me, and because he was a huge Spider-Man fan before. So that's what I think is going to happen.
Yes. Personally, my thoughts on this, I thought it could have been better. I mean, literally, we saw half of it in both trailers that have been released so far. I mean, that scene where he jumps and the car spins in the air and he catches it, that's been shown so many freaking times now that literally I don't even give a crap about it anymore.
I know. I was when I first saw it, like on the Comic-Con trailer, I was like, "Wow, they're really going to show off his strength." But they've shown it with everything they've done so far, because I feel like they're really proud of that scene right there. And I'm just like, "No, you can move on to new stuff now. You don't need to keep showing that one." But
yeah,
whatever.
You really don't need to keep showing that. But ultimately, I mean, I thought it was a good clip. I honestly just love the fact that Electro just ripped the ground open and started grasping at those wires, and literally no one did anything about it until the cop came in.
Yeah, I know. Everyone's just like, we don't see anything. New Yorkers, although, are very famous for their see no evil, hear no evil attitude. So, whatever.
Yes, that was just, to me, that was just hilarious. Like, I remember I first watched that clip, and that was the first thing I thought. I was like, why is no one, like no one was even looking at him? Like,
I know.
Legit.
And considering that he's lit up blue underneath the hood, you would probably be able to see that glow. Just saying. But nobody really notices him. So I feel like that's also a thing that's a problem with Electro, is that he feels like nobody notices him. So that's going to become a problem. Did you see, like, when he's, like, zapping down at the ground before the car flips over? He actually killed some people, like Transformers Dark of the Moon style. Like, blowing them up and vaporizing them, and their clothes are the only things that are left.
Is that really Transformers Dark of the Moon style? I mean,
yes, because when they invaded Chicago, what they did is they had those, like, they started shooting people, and all that was left was the clothes, because it would completely vaporize them and leave their skulls rolling on the ground.
Oh, see, I thought that the whole Chicago sequence was dull as dishwater, so...
Oh.
So I wasn't really paying that much attention. But,
Okay.
You know, the only part of that Chicago sequence I really liked was the ending where Optimus Prime shot Sentinel Prime in the face twice. That was pretty cool.
Yep.
An old man begging, lying on the ground begging for mercy, and Optimus Prime just shot him.
Yep. That sounds like Optimus. No, it doesn't. If you're a Transformers fan, that scene really hurt you, didn't it?
I don't really care anymore. But, yeah.
No, I'm talking to the audience.
And something just exploded. Yes, we don't know what that was. Nor do we probably care.
Oh, jeez.
So, yeah, my thoughts on this clip. It was alright. It wasn't anything too special. It showed off a lot of what we've seen before. Something else that caught my eye on it was in both of the trailers that have been officially released, we see a Spider-Man we see a shot of Spider-Man sort of swinging in, but by rounding a corner. If you guys know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but it's light out.
Yeah.
But I feel like they tried to make it nighttime, and you could tell that it is completely faked. At least in that shot for me, I saw it the first time. I'm like, that is so fake, and that you can tell if you pause it that there's actually lines around Spider-Man where there's a little bit of light. So it was totally fake just to make it a little bit more continuous for continuity's sake, and it looked terrible in my opinion.
Yeah, because it was like, literally, if you look at the suit and then you look at the background, you can tell that suit is reflecting light. But
yeah,
the nighttime background is just complete. I know that shot so well because I've seen all the trailers so many times, and when that shot came up, and I was like, what?
Yeah, it totally looked fake, but at least we know in the movie it won't look like that, so it's really no big deal. They just tried to make it continuous, which is alright, I guess, but I don't really think it needed that. I think they were just trying to put some more footage in there to make it at least a minute.
Yeah, they probably just wanted to sell something, which is actually quite funny. But yeah, that's really it for this clip. There really wasn't a lot to it. We didn't see any of Gwen or anything. We just saw Electro attacking Times Square. That was literally it.
Although it was pretty cool. It was visually interesting.
It was
the new shots that we did.
It was a visually good clip. It really was. I'm getting impressed by the CGI in this movie. I really am.
Yeah, and a lot of people have been saying it looks like a video game. They need to go see The Hobbit in IMAX 3D because the trailer looks fantastic in that. It really does. Doesn't look like a video game at all.
Yeah, I haven't seen either of the Hobbit movies, so yeah, whatever.
It was worth it just for the trailer alone. It was worth the price of the admission. It was excellent.
Okay.
Yeah, that and the Godzilla trailer were awesome.
Yeah.
See, I've never been a big Godzilla fan.
I am not really either, but the trailer was epic.
All right. Yeah, that's really going to do it for this little clip here. I didn't actually prepare this for a news topic. This is actually something that's literally coming to my head right now. Did anyone here see the little GIF of Spider-Man dropping the reporter?
Spider-Man dropping the what?
That when literally Spider-Man was on ABC News or whatever to promote his appearance.
Oh, yeah. I've seen that.
And he drops the reporter.
Yeah.
It was funny as hell. Because
in his defense, she kind of fell over first without his help.
But to me, I didn't really care. It was just like she was falling over, and he didn't expect it, and he was just like, "Oh fuck."
He's like, "Oh no."
Yes, yeah, I saw a meme on the internet. It's that little GIF there with Avengers banner above it that says, "And he wonders why we won't let him join." I was like, "Poor Spider-Man." That's horrible.
I know.
That was hilarious. I absolutely love that.
Of course, I bet Spider-Man saved more people with the lizard incident than the Avengers did when the aliens invaded. How many civilians died there, guys?
Yeah, especially since they were gonna shoot a freaking nuclear missile into there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
I understand.
That wasn't the Avengers' fault, to be quite honest. But whatever.
I understand the council has made a decision, but given that it's a stupid-ass
decision, I am neglected to ignore it. Yeah, it's a great quote.
That was awesome.
There's a lot of really good ones, really memorable ones from the Avengers.
Yes, there's a lot of memorable quotes from a lot of superhero movies, but yeah, I just literally just thought that up because I don't know why we were talking about Spider-Man and Times Square and everything, and I just thought of that, which I thought it was pretty funny because he just drops the reporter, and he was funny because like legit comic book news sites were legit reporting on that as like the worst thing ever, and I was like, dudes, calm down.
Yeah, jeez. It's just a guy in a Spider-Man costume. Spider-Man isn't real.
And I was like, legit, if that's Andrew Garfield, I'll pay you $1 million. If that's Andrew Garfield under there.
Yeah.
Like, maybe at Times Square on New Year's Eve, maybe, but not in that little ABC News clip. I'm sorry.
I don't even think it was Andrew Garfield at all. I just think it was some stunt guy.
Well, I don't know. I just like to think it was Andrew Garfield, but because honestly, I could see Andrew Garfield doing that. I really could.
Well, I really could because he did it at Comic-Con and everything.
Yeah, I mean,
but I don't think it was him.
I could see Andrew Garfield, making an appearance at Times Square as Spider-Man. I could see that.
Yeah,
I could see it way more than I could see Tobey Maguire doing it. Tobey Maguire, wouldn't do it at all.
Yeah.
All right, so next news topic we have today, this is also something that Thomas put on the front page of the site, Ultimate Spider-Man number 200 to showcase Miles Morales and Peter Parker. So, Thomas, since you were the one to put this topic on the site, why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
Okay, so as most people who read Ultimate Spider-Man know, in issue number 160, Peter Parker met his end at the hand of the Green Goblin. I personally think it came out of nowhere and was just for the purpose to boost sales, but that is not the point. He died. Well, Brian Michael Bendis recently posted this image on Tumblr with the Peter Parker Spider-Man suit on one side, and he's cut in half, and then on the other side is Miles Morales' Spider-Man, and they each have their supporting characters on each side with both of their heads, which gives me the impression that number 200 is going to be some sort of and he's actually Brian Michael Bendis has been posting on Tumblr for a while that for Peter Parker fans, they're going to want to check out number 200. But Peter Parker is dead. However, I'm starting to think that the Scorpion clone that was in the Clone Saga in the Ultimate Universe, he was the last Peter Parker clone to live, is actually going to end up becoming Scarlet Spider, the Ultimate Scarlet Spider in the comic book, in the Ultimate Universe, and acting like Peter Parker.
All right, so thoughts, Thomas? What do you think this is a good news, bad news? What are you thinking?
Well, I think it is actually good news, particularly if they're going to announce it before the movie comes out, because one, it's also bringing Peter Parker back, where he's around the same age actually as the character that is in the movie. Whereas if Peter Parker came back in the 616 universe, he would actually be older than the movie version, so it actually appeals more to the movie-going audience. Second, the Ultimate Universe has been teased to end for a while now, and I feel like this actually shows that it's not going to end like some people believe it is. So I think the Ultimate Universe is going to continue. So for Ultimate fans, that is a hugely good thing. So I'm definitely looking forward to picking this up, and hopefully Peter Parker, even if he is Scarlet Spider, will have his own series that I can read, because I've been dying for Peter Parker to get back into the Ultimate Universe, because that is the Spider-Man that I grew up with reading in the comics.
All right. James, any thoughts on this little news story here?
Yeah, I just saw that photo today, and I'm getting more of a vibe of it's just the 200th issue, so they might just be going like a clip show route of here's all the greatest hits of Spider-Man, and it's going to be people remembering Peter Parker. And remember when Peter did this, and it cuts to a fight against the Goblin. Remember when he did this? Fight with Doc Ock. That's what I'm getting more of a feeling of. It's just going to be people remembering Peter in the 200th issue and not necessarily him or any of his clones coming back.
See,
Brian Michael Bendis even said that it's going to be like a second Clone Saga.
So. If that's the case, then yeah, maybe he will come back because of a clone. Like you said, the Scorpion one that lived.
Yeah, I don't. See, here's the thing about my take on this. I have not read a lot of the Ultimate Universe, so I'm not familiar with a lot of it. But I personally think, I've read about 10 issues of Miles Morales, and I've read about 45 issues of Peter Parker. And so, personally, I've never found Miles Morales to be anything special. I've never really liked the character. Peter Parker, he was a good Spider-Man. I enjoyed his character in the Ultimate Universe. But to see him return, I'd really have to be sold on how they do it, because Peter really had a good death in the Ultimate Universe. From what I've read and from what I understand, he had a pretty decent death in the Ultimate Universe. So it really doesn't seem like the best idea in my eyes to be bringing him back.
Well, I don't disagree with you, is that Peter Parker did have a good death, but I also think it's worth noting that if they did decide to make the Scorpion clone Scarlet Spider, he wouldn't actually be Peter Parker. So that would actually give him a good identity crisis, where if he actually thinks he is Peter Parker, they fixed up his mind because he was actually really mental in the comics. But if they fixed up his mind and got rid of the whole biosuit, he becomes Scarlet Spider. He will be dealing with an identity crisis of, wait, I'm not really Peter Parker. I look like him, I sound like him, I have the same memories as him, but I'm not really him. So it'd be a good identity crisis as well. But Peter Parker would still technically be dead. And that wouldn't take, I don't really think, anything away from the fact that the real Peter Parker died.
See, here's my problem with that storyline. We legit saw that in the 90s Clone Saga in Amazing Spider-Man.
Yeah.
We saw that exact identity crisis story. For anyone who's read the Clone Saga, legit the first... I have the complete Clone Saga Epic series, the 5 trades of it. Legit, the entire first trade is just Ben Reilly moping about and saying, I'm Peter Parker, but I'm not Peter Parker. I have all the same memories and shit and all that. And it's just like, it got really old really quick, so really, I really don't think that would work.
Well, I think it would. I think it would work. I just feel like, particularly with Brian Michael Bendis, who has written a lot of that. Peter himself had a pretty big identity crisis on whether or not he should actually be Spider-Man. So I feel like if it's written by this guy who gave us that very same identity crisis and did it so well, I feel like he can actually pull it off. I don't think that he'll keep it going for too long. Although Miles Morales' origin story lasted for 26 whole issues, so I wouldn't be completely sure, but I would just be so desperate to pick up anything that is Ultimate Peter at all. So I'd pick it up for sure.
Yeah, Ultimate Miles Morales' origin took way too freaking long. Legit, they could have told it in one. See, here's how I equate it. Stan Lee told Spider-Man's entire origin in 11 pages. Brian Michael Bendis, with both Ultimate Peter and Miles Morales, took 6 issues. I'm like, what the hell do you need 6 issues for?
It was 7 issues for Peter Parker, 5 issues for Miles Morales, the actual origin story, quote unquote. But his Miles Morales origin story actually lasted for about 26 issues because he wasn't really Spider-Man per se. And then in like issue number 26, he's like, I really am Spider-Man. I'm like, really? It took you 26 issues to figure that out. Good for you.
See, I remember my first Ultimate Miles Morales issue was number 27. I tried to get into the book then, which I don't even know why I tried to do that because literally the series was ending with 28. But legit, I tried to read 27 and I was just bored to tears by it, so I was like...
Yeah, they're not really good individual stories. I prefer to read Brian Michael Bendis's stories in trades when they have the whole volume together because it works as a really good cohesive narrative, but not so much when it's separated out by issue by issue. So, just my thought on it.
Yeah, I agree with you. Bendis is more of a trade kind of writer than he is a monthly, ongoing comic series writer because he does prolong everything. Even during his Avengers run, you have some issues where it's just we're sitting down to lunch talking because, well, we have to prolong it because we want to have the battles happening 3 or 4 issues from now. Instead of having it all being like maybe 1, 2, or 3 issue arc, he makes it like 6 or 7.
Which is literally just a waste of paper and, you know...
Well, I mean, it does give a really good character development. So he's really good at doing it a lot better than most of the other comic book writers in the industry right now. I just feel like the character development is not sacrificed for the battles, which is a good thing, but the battles are sacrificed for the character development, which means in order to get the full payoff, you have to read the whole thing. And so you're better off just getting it in a trade.
Yeah, I mean, I've found that with Bendis' stories, that the overarching story is usually strongest when you do read it all together because single issues, because there are legit single issues where nothing happens.
Yep.
Nothing
Totally.
Nothing happens at all, and it's just boring as hell. So, legit, I do think that it is to everyone's benefit if they just, you know, kind of read it in an overarching story. But any final thoughts on this news topics? How the hell did it get 18 Facebook likes? Like, legit.
I liked it.
Of course you did. Because, but what are the other 17 likes from? Thomas's sock puppet accounts?
No. No, I only liked it once. I only have one Facebook account.
Yeah, so apparently more people like this freaking news story than anyone else, than any other of my news stories. Because legit, I was telling Thomas this before the show, his 2 news stories that he put up, this exclusive clip and this Ultimate 200, those news stories have gotten more hits in the freaking 3 days that they've been up than my news stories would ever get in their first 3 days. So I'm not happy. Yeah. I'm just kidding. Yeah, I mean, I don't really care, but I just thought that was kind of funny. But final news topic of today, and this one I actually literally just found before the show started. we legit have a Spider-Man costume being inducted into the Smithsonian National Museum, which I think is actually quite cool.
Yeah.
It's basically the Broadway costume. It's just basic. Like, I didn't read the full article because I honestly didn't have time to read the whole thing, but it's just basically they're inducting the Broadway costume into the Smithsonian National Museum, and it's cool. I really don't know what else to say about it. It's just, this is a huge museum, and Spider-Man's being recognized in it, which I think is actually really sweet.
Yeah, I agree. I feel like Spider-Man hasn't really gotten the love historically that he deserves, particularly since he's been a pop culture icon for going on. This is actually 52 years now, so he's been a pop culture icon for a while, and so I feel like that kind of needs to be honored a little bit more, and I'm glad that he's finally getting it, even if it is the Broadway costume, and even if it is from a show that I feel like was unnecessary in the first place.
Yeah, I mean, James, did you ever have a chance to see the Broadway Spider-Man show? Or
Nope, being that I live all the way here in Wisconsin, nope, I didn't even have a chance to it. And even if I was in New York, I don't think I would have gone seen it. Maybe I would have just because it's Spider-Man, but pretty much ever since I heard about it, it was just something I didn't really care about. So I didn't really waste my time with knowing most about it. My only, I'm happy that Spider-Man's in the Smithsonian because that's pretty cool. My brother was there before for a school trip, so he said it's a really awesome place. So it's cool that Spider-Man's going to be involved there. I just kind of wish that maybe they would have picked one of the Raimi trilogy suits, not something from the Broadway play, which is probably going to go down in infamy with the Spider-Man fan base.
Yeah, not just with the fan base, but with like everything, because that show was just.
Yeah, I heard it was bad, and then a lot of people got hurt.
I mean, just on the number of accidents alone, that's probably going to be one of the most infamous Broadway plays of all time.
There was another Spider-Man podcast that I listened to on a regular basis, and like when the play was first happening and rehearsal and opening night, it seemed like every week they had an episode where it's like, okay, more injuries, okay, more people had to drop out because of an injury. Like, it got to the point it was ridiculous. Like, it was like part of Spider-Man news every week is somebody getting hurt with that play.
Yeah.
Yeah, I legit just
Spider-Man's just not made for stage. He's made for CGI
or drawings and shit.
Exactly.
Which honestly, I don't really. I remember when I first heard about this musical, and I was like, "Are you freaking kidding me? You're making a Spider-Man musical?" I mean, I just thought it was a horrible idea. And
Yeah,
then
me too.
It's like,
It is.
It is. It really is. But this thing, from what I hear, its biggest failure was like it had a huge cost of like $200 million, and it would take millions of dollars to put on every week, and they still lost money even though a lot of people went to see it. So,
Yeah.
But from what I understand from friends who like Broadway plays, that's the norm though. Like, even the most successful Broadway plays never hardly ever make any of their money back because of the cost of making them is just so much. Like, it's not just Spider-Man, it's all of them pretty much.
Yeah, but Spider-Man cost a lot more than the rest of them, and they were losing millions upon millions of dollars, and it was only getting worse. So it was only a matter of time before it shut down. Now they're going to try to reopen it in Las Vegas. I'm pretty sure that we did that story.
Yeah, we did that story, and it was, I don't even freaking know what they're going to try there, because it's like, I mean, whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, so I don't take that for
Well, hopefully it will stay there then.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just thought that was a nice little cool news story. Spider-Man's going to be in the Smithsonian. That's a big national museum for us Americans, and, he's a worldwide global icon. So,
Yep.
I think it's pretty cool that he's going to be in the Smithsonian. So, yeah, that's basically all I have for the news topics today. There's really not much to talk about because it's New Year's week and,
It's Newsweek hell.
Yeah.
Well, not really. I mean,
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Ask any reporter, and they will tell you that the week of New Year's, there's nothing going on.
yeah, because everyone's passed out drunk in there.
Pretty much hungover.
in their beds.
Yeah.
Watch it tomorrow after this recording. Watch tomorrow. It breaks at Superior's ending after 30. Peter's coming back and all this great new stuff about it.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised if that happens because literally, there was
It's happened before.
Yeah, Thomas and I have recorded a show before, and literally 3 hours later, they came out with this huge piece of news, and I was like, "Are you fucking kidding me?"
I know that I know that because with my Power Ranger podcast, we would literally be going over the news, and it's like a slow news week, and nothing happens. We'll get done recording the show, and like an hour later, I'll go on like a fan site or a fan board, and there's some big breaking news. It's epic.
Yeah, what is the new Power Rangers series called? Isn't it like Super Megaforce or something?
Yeah, Super Mega Force.
Yeah, I was a huge Power Rangers fan when I was a kid, and that one from 2011. What was it called?
Samurai,
I guess. Yeah, that one turned me off of it because I remember I watched like one episode of that and I hated it.
Yeah, Samurai's going down as one of the worst seasons in the franchise because pretty much they took the Japanese storyline, which was based on Japanese history of samurais, brought it here to America, completely the same story, and forgot to cut out any of the references that don't make sense in America. Or
Whoops.
at least don't even try to explain them. You get some random episodes where they'll talk about the Red Ranger, and the Green Ranger will say that he's his rival, even though every other episode they're BFF friends and everything, and they have no problems. But randomly, because they kept the Japanese script for one episode, he says, "Yeah, I got to prove I'm better than the Red Ranger." It's like, where did that even come from?
Wow, it's like it's like a written issue of Spider-Man. Wow, seen some similarities here.
Yep.
Yeah. But yeah. So that's really gonna do it for this episode of the podcast. It's 5 p.m. January 3rd, 2014. Where I'm at. I'm guessing it's like 3 or 4 where you guys are at. But
Yep.
Yeah, this is our first show of 2014, and this has definitely been one of the most interesting ones because
Ooh.
yes,
Because I'm here.
yes, I'm going to say that James. I think we want to keep you around just because you bring out Thomas's weird side.
Okay.
Because I will say he's never been like this on any other recording.
Okay. Well, I'll try to. I hope to be on majority of your guys' episodes. Like, hopefully they won't clash with recordings of my show. But the way it sounds like it, I can be here every episode if you guys want.
Awesome. We'd love to have you.
Yeah.
Just hope no more issues are like Darkest Hour, because I literally just read those 3 issues, and it's really making me almost regret repicking up Superior.
Oh, we totally talked about that and just how mediocre and bad they were.
Yeah,
They're not the best at all.
Yeah, if anyone hasn't listened to that show, it's podcast 14, I think. I think it's podcast number 14 on the site. Go and check. Yeah, so that's. I think we should probably end the podcast here before we say anything we regret. But yeah, so yeah, that's basically it. So everyone go and check out James's Power Rangers podcast. I think I'm actually going to go listen to an episode of it when we finish recording this podcast, because I listened to a Transformers podcast last night in preparation for watching Transformers 3, and yeah, I haven't listened to a Transformers podcast in like 2 years, so that was an interesting experience.
Yeah,
all right,
that's
then.
Do all they do is whine about Michael Bay the whole time?
Pretty much.
God, he's gonna destroy this franchise. I'm pretty sure he already did that. Sorry.
Yeah. He raped my childhood.
That's what everyone's been saying about Superior Spider-Man 2. That's pretty funny.
Oh my gosh, I have not heard that, but wow.
Really? All they say is that he's ruined my childhood, and everything about my childhood is ruined because Dad Slott is a dick.
Hey, guys, I don't know if you guys are Star Wars fans, but after George Lucas sold Star Wars to Disney, some of the fans are like, good, because now he can stop raping my childhood memories of Star Wars, stop raping my childhood. And like George Lucas' daughter goes, legit go, you guys are pigs because you guys are literally comparing my dad's work to somebody raping a woman, grow up, or something like that. She said to them over Twitter.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Speaking of George Lucas and Star Wars, I legit just thought of the funniest joke ever. Well, not the funniest joke ever, but he was like, this guy's doing a 5-minute like running along joke on Comedy Central, and he's talking about how he hates the Star Wars prequels and how he's like, oh, I don't want to see Darth Vader as a kid. I don't care where the stuff I love comes from. I just love the stuff I love. And then he's like. And then he legit makes an Angelina Jolie comment. He's like, "Oh yeah, you like Angelina Jolie? Does she get you going?" Yeah. Well, here's John Voight's ball sack.
Yeah. Okay.
That joke's not as funny out of context, but it's honestly, I watched it with my old band director at my school. Literally showed us that little skit one day, and it was
Oh, jeez.
Yeah, my old band director was very childish. He was interesting, but he was very interesting, man. But yeah, like legitimately, it was me and this other kid. He showed us that clip, and honestly, we could not stop laughing for about 20 minutes.
My god.
It was the way he delivered it was awesome. All right, let's just end this show here because this is going on way too long. So everyone, go check out the Angel Grove Radio Podcast if you want to hear more of James's beautiful voice. I'm just kidding, James. You have a hideous voice. I hate you. Not kidding. I'm just kidding. But yeah, we love having you on, James. We love having you.
Thanks.
So James, thank you for being here.
Don't mention it, guys.
Thomas, thank you for being here.
No problem.
And we will see you all next week. Hopefully with some more news to talk about. Hopefully.
Woo!
All right. So, yeah, we'll see you guys later.